I think we're all in. The floor is yours, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. So I will call to order the Public Improvement Commission hearing of February 16th, 2023. Mr. Lyman, would you please take a roll call?
Certainly. Would the representative from the Public Works Department please state his or her name for the record?
Yasha Franklin Hodge.
Property Management Department?
Joseph Callahan.
Transportation Department?
Amy Cording.
Inspectional Services?
Brian Ronan.
Disabilities Commission?
Sarah Leon.
And is somebody from Water and Sewer here?
Yes, Peter Salvatore.
Oh, great. Thank you, Peter.
Yep.
We have a full quorum.
Thank you very much. All right, on to our agenda. The first item at the request of the Public Improvement Commission staff, the acceptance of the minutes of the PIC hearing held on January 26, 2023. Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of January 26, 2023.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed or abstain? So moved. On to our, our first public hearing number 1, on a petition by Willow Baker LLC for the widening and relocation of the existing right-of-way lines of Willow Court, Public Way, Dorchester, located on its northeasterly side at address number 75, generally southeast of Baker Court. This was new business on January 26, 2023, as shown on a plan entitled City of Boston Public Works Department Engineering Division Widening and Relocation Plan, 75 Willow Court, Public Way, Dorchester District, one sheet dated February 13th, 2023. Would the petitioners please introduce themselves, their affiliations, and let us know how you would like to proceed today.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the Commission, Attorney Nick Zazula, McDermott, Quilty, and Miller, here on behalf of Willow Baker LLC. Mr. Chair, we're going to need to request a continuance or a deferral on these public hearings number 1 through 6. So we saved you a bunch of time today. We need some final coordination, Mr. Chair, with the BPDA on a few items that we've been working on, and we just weren't able to get to that point before this morning's hearing. So I think 2 weeks should be enough if the chair and the commission is amenable to that. But we do need to request a continuance, and that would be public hearings number 1 all the way through 6. Thank you.
All right. Todd, just do we need to take these one at a time?
Yeah, unfortunately, we do need to kind of read each one into record and continue. I mean, we don't need to go through a whole spiel for every single one, but we do need to read into record.
Okay, that sounds good. All right, well, we'll try to make this quick and legal. Do I hear a motion to accept the request to continue?
I'll make a motion to continue public hearing item number 1 as read into the record by the chair.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed or abstain? So moved. On to public hearing number 2 on a joint petition by Willow Baker LLC, 85 Willow Court Condo Trust, 8 Baker Court Condo Trust, and 12 Baker Court LLC for the widening and relocation of the existing right-of-way lines of Baker Court, a private way open to public travel, Dorchester, located on both sides, generally at address number 16, northeast of Willow Court. New business from January 26th, as shown on a set of plans entitled City of Boston Public Works Department Engineering Division Widening and Relocation Plan, Baker Court, Private Way, Dorchester District, 2 sheets dated February 13th, 2023. The petitioners please introduce themselves and let us know how you'd like to proceed.
Good morning, Mr. Chair. Attorney Nick Zazula, McDermott, Quilty, and Miller would like to request a continuance for 2 weeks if possible. Thank you.
Do I hear a motion to accept the request for continuance?
I'll make a motion to continue public hearing item number 2 as read into the record by the chair.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed or abstain? So moved. On to public hearing number 3 on a petition by Willow Baker LLC for the making of specific repairs within the following roadways in Dorchester, consisting of curb realignment, roadway and sidewalk reconstruction, as well as new and relocated pedestrian ramps, specialty pavement, street lighting infrastructure, storm drain infrastructure, street trees, planters, landscaping, irrigation infrastructure, street furniture, bike racks, bollards, driveway curb cuts, and tabled intersections. Willow Court, generally at address number 75 between Allstate Road and Enterprise Street. Baker Court, private way, generally at address number 16 northeast of Willow Court. New business from January 26, as shown on a set of plans entitled City of Boston Public Works Department Engineering Division Specific Repair Plan. Willow Court, 75 Willow Court and 16 Baker Court, Dorchester, 3 sheets dated February 13th, 2023. Petitioners, please introduce themselves and let us know how you would like to proceed.
Mr. Chair, can I just say ditto? Do I need to go through the whole thing, Todd? Is that okay? I don't want to.
No, that's fine.
All right, same request.
Okay. Same request. Excellent. Do I hear a motion to accept the request to continue?
I will make a motion to continue public hearing item number 3 as read into the record by the chair.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed or abstain? So moved. On to public hearing number 4 on a petition by Willow Baker LLP for the widening and relocation of the existing right-of-way lines of Willow Court Public Way, Dorchester, located on its southwesterly side at address number 78, generally northwest of Enterprise Street. New business from January 26, as shown on a plan entitled City of Boston Public Works Department Engineering Division Widening and Relocation Plan, 78 Willow Court, Public Way, Dorchester District, 1 sheet, dated February 13th, 2023. Petitioner.
Same request, Mr. Chair, for a 2-week continuance. Thank you.
All right. Do I hear a motion to accept the request to continue?
I'll make a motion to continue public hearing item number 4 as read into the record by the chair.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed or abstain? So moved. On to public hearing number 5 on a petition by Willow Baker LLC for the acceptance of a pedestrian easement adjacent to the following public ways in Dorchester. Willow Court on its southwesterly side at address number 78, generally between Enterprise Street and Baker Court. Enterprise Street on its northwesterly side between Willow Court and Graham Court. New business from January 26th is shown on a plan entitled City of Boston Public Works Department Engineering Division Pedestrian Easement Plan, Willow Court and Enterprise Street, 78 Willow Court, Dorchester District, 1 sheet dated February 13th, 2023. Petitioners, do you request the same here?
Yes, please, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Do I hear a motion to continue?
I'll make a motion to continue public hearing item number 5 as read into the record by the chair.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed or abstain? So moved. On to public hearing number 6 on a petition by Willow Baker LLC for the making of specific repairs within the following roadways in Dorchester, consisting of curb realignment, roadway and sidewalk reconstruction, as well as new and relocated pedestrian ramps, specialty pavement, street lighting infrastructure, storm drain infrastructure, street trees, planters, landscaping, irrigation infrastructure, street furniture, bike racks, driveway curb cuts, tabled intersections, and a median island. Willow Court, generally at address number 78 between Allstate Road and Enterprise Street between Willow Court and Graham Court. Graham Court, private way northwest of Enterprise Street, new business from January 26, as shown on a set of plans entitled City of Boston Public Works Department Engineering Division, Specific Repair Plan, Willow Court and Enterprise Street, 78 Willow Court, Dorchester, 3 sheets dated February 13th, 2023. Petitioners, are you looking to continue this as well?
Sure, why not, Mr. Chair? We'll continue this as well. Thank you.
All right. Do I hear a motion to continue?
I'll make a motion to continue public hearing item number 6 as read into the record by the chair.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed or abstain? So moved. Thank you very much, Nick, and we'll see you in a couple weeks.
Thank you,
do
Mr.
this all over
Chair.
again.
Thank you very much. Have a good hearing. Thank you.
Thank you. Yep. On to public hearing number 7 on a petition by Vicinity Energy Boston for a grant of location to install a steam distribution main and associated infrastructure within the following public ways in Boston proper and Roxbury. Brookline Avenue, generally at Lansdowne Street between Brookline Avenue and Ipswich Street between Lansdowne Street and Boylston Street / Hemingway Street, Boylston Street between Massachusetts Avenue and Ipswich Street / Hemingway Street. This was new business on January 26, as shown on a set of plans entitled City of Boston Public Works Department Engineering Division, Grant of Location Plan, Lansdowne Street, Ipswich Street, Boylston Street, Vicinity Steam Line Extension, Fenway, 10 sheets dated February 10th, 2023. The petitioners please introduce themselves and let us know how you'd like to proceed.
Good morning, Mr. Chair and Commissioners. My name is Robbie Burgess from Howard Stein Hudson. Today we're requesting a 2-week continuance from the Commission, if possible. We have a few remaining stakeholder coordination items that we're working on.
All right. Do I hear a motion to accept the request to continue?
Make a motion to continue public hearing item number 7 is read into the record by the chair.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed or abstain? So moved. All right, we will see you in 2 weeks.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the time.
Got to be a record here. Thank you very much. All right, so on to our new business for today. We have 3 items. We will start with new business number 1, Arboretum Road, Washington Street, West Roxbury, specific repairs on a petition by the City of Boston Public Works Department. Would the petitioners please introduce themselves, their affiliations, and talk us through what you are proposing to do?
Thank you, Chief. Good morning, Chairman and members of the Commission. Excuse me, I'm a little sick this morning, so if you can't hear me, please let me know. My name is Jeffrey Alexis with the City of Boston Public Works Engineering Division. Here petitioning for the Arboretum Road Reconstruction Improvements Project in coordination with the Arnold Arboretum Green Links Project. We're proposing to make some much needed roadway and sidewalk improvements to provide an accessible connection from Washington Street. I'm joined here by Steve Farr from Niche Engineering, and he will provide more details regarding this project. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. Again, my name is Steve Farr with Niche Engineering. I'm the project manager working with Public Works. If it's okay, could I share my screen, Mr. Chair?
Yes, please go right ahead.
Sure. Okay. All right. Can you all see the Google map that's on my screen?
We can.
Okay, so just to give you a context, so this is the Forest Hills Orange Line Station. Arboretum Road is located just south of that. It's a dead-end roadway currently accessed by Washington Street, and at the very end is the commuter rail tracks, which go over a tunnel, which is a pedestrian way to the Arboretum, and trails that lead to the Forest Hill T Station. So this project is in collaboration with BTD, who has a sister project that is going to reconstruct the plaza and the entrance to the tunnel and trails and bike paths on the other side of the tracks. So this project, and I will go to the PIC plans right now. Again, here's Washington Street on the right. The commuter rail tracks are on the left side here. And this street is in much need of repair. Like Jeff mentioned, there are currently really no curbing or sidewalks per se on this street, no street trees, very limited drainage, and it's in very much disrepair. So we are going to install new curbing to formalize the sidewalks, new street trees, a few bike racks at the very end. We have a raised crosswalk at the entrance to Arboretum Road next to Washington Street. And again, this work will be done in preparation for the follow-up project, which is being designed by BTD, which is a plaza area in this location and the tunnel that goes underneath the tracks and again continues on with more trails to the Forest Hills T Station. And that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Commissioners?
Chief, I should have caught this thing during the design review. Hey, Steve, the crosswalk, can it get a little bit more closer to the path of travel along Washington Street itself? I'm always not in favor when a pedestrian has to sort of go left when they have to go. Can that crosswalk move closer to Washington Street? If not, that's fine, but I'm assuming you have tried to align it as close as possible to the pedestrian path of travel along Washington Street.
Yes, we always like to have the desire line in line with the sidewalk, but due to the tight constraints directly behind the right-of-way here, and the need for this transition, again, this is a raised crosswalk, so there needs to be at least 3 or 4 feet from the gutter line to the top of the raised crossing here, and that's why we have this pushed back.
Commissioners, other questions? So I will go ahead and ask two things. So one, I just want to note that we received some written comments from the Rosendale Business Group related to this street and the businesses, particularly the ice cream manufacturing facility here. Can you speak a little bit to what coordination has been done related to their access needs, both for their primary facility located on the north side of Arboretum Road, as well as their secondary parking on the south side, and what is been done to coordinate and to ensure that this design is compatible with their effective and safe operations?
So yes, we recognize this is somewhat of an industrial neighborhood with various uses. There is currently parking allowed on both sides of the street, which is very problematic for emergency services because it's very difficult to get down here with that parking setup as it is. So we're proposing to eliminate parking along the north side entirely and only allow parking along the south side. And even that is very constrained. But with that, we have checked with our design software, AutoTurn, the turning movements in and out of this driveway. This is the ice cream manufacturing facility. They have a wide driveway right now that we are maintaining. And again, we have checked the turning movements for large vehicles, box unit trucks, and Boston Fire trucks to make this turn while there are parked cars on the south side of Arboretum. So we don't believe that we're impinging on their access at all and maintaining the desired emergency access and business commercial access to their facility.
Excellent. Thank you very much for that. The second question I had relates to the western end of Arboretum Road, and there is, I believe, earlier this week or late last week, there was a filing done for a large residential development at 22 Arboretum Road. That filing included some conceptual designs for the portion of Arboretum Road directly adjacent to the development site that are somewhat different from what is being shown in these plans. So I would like to just understand our expectations for what is being proposed here and how future development projects might alter this, or how this design may interface with development were it to be successfully approved through the Article 80 and other associated processes.
Yeah, we just heard about this, as you mentioned recently, and we fully expect to coordinate with them and adjust our design as needed so that we are not, wasting taxpayer dollars just to have this ripped up in the future by a private development. So again, this is very early, but we'll coordinate with BPDA and others to possibly remove the improvements that we show here in front of this development, this existing building, which is this object of the development. We will, again, probably not perform these improvements and leave that for the developer in the future. Again, we probably will construct the ones on the other side of the street, as again, we're looking to get this work done fairly quickly. As we know, BTD has a project, again, to complete a pedestrian bicycle improvements under the tunnel of the rail tracks, and we want to make sure these curb line improvements are there when their contractor starts their work. But again, we don't want to obviously build anything new that is going to be ripped up in the future.
Yeah, and I'll add that we are looking at our project limits and what will be needed for our project and our construction documents. From my understanding, we may need to include the drainage improvements towards the end of the roadway, which we'll probably look at completing as part of our project. But in terms of the roadway and sidewalk surface improvements, believe past Kitson Road, we'll need to determine where our limits go in regards to those improvements.
Understood. Thank you very much. I appreciate that coordination. And this is probably collectively more action than this street has seen in the last 50 years, all happening more or less at once here. So it's appreciate that careful coordination with the other projects that may take place here. I have no other questions. Any other members of the commission who wish to speak?
I have a question. Steve? Sorry, Steve?
Yes.
Steve, can you verify whether there are sidewalks existing on this street? Like today, if I walk down this street, are there sidewalks?
There are no formal sidewalks today.
Right. So therefore, towards the end of the project, you know, as the chief said, towards that area, at a minimum, obviously we don't want to put as concrete sidewalks that are going to get bricked out. Okay. So we may want to consider putting something in asphalt without the full, you know, bells and whistles of its stone and all of that stuff, but at least have a walkable surface versus having nothing today that is there. So this way, if there's a timing issue between this project, the Parks Department's project and the developer's project, a pedestrian can walk a little bit easier than what they are faced today. Okay, so just use a material change to asphalt sidewalks towards the second half of the street, if that makes sense to you.
Yes, absolutely.
That way, if it gets torn up, it's a lesser disruption or a degradation to a public works owned asset. Okay?
Absolutely. Yes.
Good stuff. Thank you.
All right, PIC staff, and then I see one raised hand, so so then we can move to public comment, but PIC staff?
No, you all covered everything I would have mentioned, so I think we can open it up to Dennis and others.
All right, Dennis, go right ahead. The floor is yours.
All right, thank you very much. I had sent in a written statement. I had not expected to be here, but I'm squeezing it in. I thank you for your time. A couple of things that I can add to the dialogue that might be helpful. I think this is going to be a wonderful improvement to Arboretum Road and most welcome, especially additional lighting. That particular street can be a little dicey very late at night, and this might help eliminate some problematic usage, so to speak. Couple of points. The people parking on Arboretum Road now are predominantly maybe 2 or 3 people that live on Washington Street that do not have off-street parking. They'll have to relocate. The remainder are people who are parking there and walking to Forest Hill Station. So they're using this as on-street commuter parking. This will not be missed by the business at this time. Puritan Ice Cream has all of the needed parking for its customers and for its employees in its dirt lot on the south side of Arboretum Road. As to the housing complex, the preliminary plans that had been released calls for the elimination of Kitson Road, which is a private way connecting Lockdale and Arboretum roads. Kitson will become a driveway for the housing building, so you could probably want to check with their plans. As far as I know, the abutters on that road have not been consulted on that design. So that's going to be a little bit up in the air. The parking lot for Puritan isn't a butter, and there's been no dialogue there with them as yet. Item last, and I'll let you go, and thank you for your time. Good location for a crosswalk. I think it should be well marked. I do have reservations for the heavy trucks coming in and out of the street to the ice cream factory if that is raised. They have their own fleet of heavy refrigeration trucks that make deliveries out of there. They do have small tankers coming in, and I would be concerned about damage to those vehicles and essentially being heavy trucks, eventual damage to a raised sidewalk itself. So I would appreciate it if you would consider in the design maybe a well-marked sidewalk, but not a raised one if that's at all possible. And I think all of the designs will be very acceptable. And I thank you and I appreciate your time.
Thank you very much, Dennis, for the comments, and we will take those under advisement in the subsequent review on this. Todd did just inform me that the Kitson Road is actually formerly was abandoned in 1952. So it is now private property, although for some reason Google still shows it as being a road. So, but we will definitely consider all the comments that you raised.
The same would actually be true for Lanesville on the other side. That's actually impassable and blocked. There's no through passage there. Hasn't been for decades.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other members of the public? Any other comments from anyone on this? All right, seeing none, will you be ready for your public hearing in 2 weeks?
Yes.
All right, we will see you then. That is March 6th, is that correct?
Second.
March 2nd. Second. Thank you. March 2nd. All right, we'll see you on March 2nd.
Thank you.
On to new business number 2. Summer Street, West Service Road, Boston Wharf Road, Congress Street, Autumn Lane, South Boston, specific repairs on a set of petitions by Seaport Square Development Company, LLC. Would petitioners please introduce themselves, their affiliations, and let us know what you are looking to do.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the Commission. My name is Jody Sanchez from Goulston and Stores. I'm here on behalf of the petitioner Seaport Square Development Company, LLC. I'm joined today by Dan Sullivan and Yanni Sippis of the petitioner, as well as Chris Hodney and Fred Berry from Niche Engineering. We're before you today to respectfully request approval of specific repairs, including curb realignment, roadway reconstruction and installation of pedestrian ramps, streetlights, and traffic signal and infrastructure within the within portions of Summer Street, West Service Road, Boston Wharf Road, Congress Street, and Autumn Lane. The improvements are generally similar to those previously undertaken within Seaport Square and approved by the Commission, for example, along Seaport Boulevard. I note that the areas being considered are already subject to a master specific repairs LMI, and if approved at the public hearing, we'll continue working with PIC's council to integrate these locations. I'll now turn it over to Dan Sullivan to give you an overview of the project before turning it over to Chris and Fred to walk specifically through the plans.
Thanks, Jody. Hi, all. My name is Dan Sullivan. I work with WS Development in the Seaport. Thank you very much for your time this morning. As Jody mentioned, we've been building the Seaport neighborhood for a few years now, and in connection with that work, we're taking on reconstruction of several public streets, Boston Wharf Road, West Service Road, small portions of Congress Street and the Summer Street Bridge. The scope of this work is in the public right-of-way, but the project is being permitted, designed, and built by WS Development, possibly with some state funds. Since the beginning of this project, we've engaged with the City of Boston and Mass DOT as partners in the design development. We're looking forward to bringing some more beauty and energy into the space with a median with plantings and trees in Congress Street and bike lanes on Boston Wharf Road and West Service Road. And our plan is to begin work this spring on West Service Road. So I'll hand it over to Chris to present the design. Thank you.
We can see the screen, but we're not hearing any, we're not hearing you, Chris, if you're speaking.
Yes, no? All right.
Now we got you. Now we got you. There we go.
Always something, always something.
Yeah.
Here's an overview plan of the streets. I'm going to walk through this. We'll go West Service Road, then to Boston Wharf Road, down Congress, and then we'll talk about Summer Street to close this out. So starting on West Service Road, the specific repairs are going to include, well, the west sidewalk, I guess first will stay the same on this plan as the existing condition. The roadway will be mill and overlaid, reduced surface. There will be a curb extension on the east side, which will accommodate a 9-foot wide sidewalk. You can see that here. There will be a new cement concrete sidewalk, city standard, constructed in its place. There'd be the demo of an existing catch basin at the driveway here. You can see it underneath. And then the installation of a couple of catch basins for storm drain improvements and the reconstruction of this driveway entrance at the new curb location. Moving down West Service Road, getting into Boston Wharf Road as well. There are some other improvements by others shown on this plan that are on Congress Street. We're showing them just for reference to show how we're tying into them. But there will be the reconstruction of a portion of the sidewalk on the west side of Boston Wharf Road, giving a 7-foot cement concrete sidewalk. The mill and overlay of the roadway will continue all the way down, and you'll see on the next sheet it'll continue down all the way to Seaport. Let's see. And there's the sidewalk here is also being reconstructed to close an existing driveway on the west side of Boston Wharf Road. Also shown in this plan is some improvements to the median along Congress Street. So we'll get into more Congress Street improvements here, but the median's being widened slightly. This will allow us to construct a pedestrian refuge in the center. The median is wide enough. On to the next sheet. And like I mentioned, so the improvements continue down. There will be mill and overlay all the way down to this dashed line here. We're going to get to Seaport Boulevard. We're also proposing the reconstruction of some pedestrian ramps at the Autumn Lane intersection. So you'd see these 4 ramps here as well as this ramp across the street, just to provide pedestrian access. So switching gears, we're getting to Congress Street now. The plan's rotated, so Congress Street's going from left to right here. North is up instead of to the right on this plan. The median widening will continue down the street until you get to this point. There will be a wider pedestrian refuge in the middle and reconstruction of the pedestrian ramps on either side of the street. There will be some bollards at the top of these ramps to keep vehicles off the sidewalk, as well as some stone cobbles to provide an edge condition for these. There's a slight curb extension in this area as well. And then as we get to the intersection of Pier 4 Boulevard and at the Mass Pike off-ramp, reconstruction of a pedestrian ramp as well as pedestrian refuge in the median here as well. And these are some grading plans, but I'm actually going to switch over. We can talk to specific grading issues if there are any, but in the meantime, I'm going to jump over to Summer Street. So these are the improvements on Summer Street. This is actually the bridge portion of Summer Street. As you're coming out of the Fort Point neighborhood, you go over West Service Road, and we'll end up right by the convention center. So the improvements here really consist of extending the curb out into the roadway farther than it is today to provide basically the extension of the asphalt cycle track on both sides of the street that exists on Summer Street up to this point today. So this will be an extension of it down to the limits of the project. There's a further extension which provides for a pedestrian ramp at this location, as well as a bus shelter on each side of the street. The median is going to be narrowed slightly, and that'll be a hot mix asphalt curb median. And then continuing down towards the convention center, we get to West Side Drive at the edge of the convention center. The curb extension continues as well as the bike lane cycle track, which will exit back out into traffic at the edge of the limits of the work. The bridge is going to be micro-milled and with new pavement where needed, where the median is being narrowed. And I guess the only other item I would note is there will be stamped concrete between the cycle track and the curb. This is really, it's the similar detail to what's out there on the piece of the cycle track that exists on Summer Street today. So with that, I'll open up any questions that the commission might have. Thank you.
Commissioners?
Chris, some of these segments of the roadways may technically be still under the custody of the Central Artery Project / Mass DOT, which makes me a little bit nervous as to whether the Public Improvement Commission can entertain this petition. I will leave it up to the SC staff and you folks to make sure that we can support your improvements, but that the authorization for said improvements are properly understood. Because, and that being said, have you had any conversations with Mass DOT? Because right now, the segments of Summer Street and or Congress Street might be within their purview. So don't want to make a big deal out of it, truly support all of this stuff. We just want to make sure that the appropriate landlord at a given point in time has placed this stuff. Follow what I'm saying, Chris?
I'll jump in and just say, yeah, you are correct, Cara. Certain portions of these streets are still under MassDOT's jurisdiction, but they are intended to be transferred back over to the city at some point in the relatively near future. So because of that, we're bringing the designs of these streets through PIC so that we, as the eventual landlords, are okay with what they're going to be looking like.
Yeah, just get some documentation from the artery people that they are in support of this work being done in this point in time. So for some reason, if there should be a glitch between now and the assets being transferred, it doesn't become an awkward moment where we authorize certain improvements of an asset that belongs to them, not belong to them, technically within their care and custody. So just get that paperwork squared away.
Chris, I'll work with you on that offline.
And we have been in touch with Mass DOT, and recently their chief engineer signed off on these plans. So we're running both in parallel.
Perfect. Say no more.
Other comments from commissioners? Couple of quick questions on just find the sheet here. The intersection of West Service Road and Autumn Lane. We're showing a number of existing pedestrian ramps on the east side of, Boston Wharf Road and Autumn Lane. We're showing a number of pedestrian ramps on the east side being retained. Have we confirmed that those are ADA compliant?
Greg, could you speak to that?
I'll need to just check to see what was, if we may have a field visit notes from, if those were evaluated, or otherwise we'll make sure that is done.
Okay. Yeah, we want to make sure if there are any reciprocal ramps being left in their current state as you rebuild a compliant ramp on where you've proposed, we want to confirm that they are indeed all fully compliant.
We'll confirm for the public hearing.
Excellent, thank you very much. On the Summer Street improvements, so the question I had is whether there'd been any discussions with the BTD transit team. There is a BTD is in receipt of a state grant to pilot a bus priority corridor along Summer Street. And there has been past discussion of potential permanent changes to Summer Street that could involve permanent constructed bus priority. At various points, the idea of center running bus priority has been floated. And so I'm interested in whether that discussion has taken place to look at any potential compatibility issues with either short-term pilot projects that may roll out this year, as well as any longer-term changes that might be under consideration.
This is Dan with WS. It's probably been over 6 months since we last discussed this. We were advised to install an HMA medium with that transit plan in mind, so that it could be more easily demoed and replaced to fit the bus plan. But if there's a new plan we should consider, please let us know.
And I'll
yeah, I would. Go ahead.
So sorry. Yeah, first of all, we're so thrilled that the bus priority pilot is happening. And certainly the intent is that these plans are consistent with that, both that pilot and then, as Dan enumerated, the somewhat interim nature of the median was intended to not preclude the ability for that pilot to become something more permanent in nature. We're huge supporters of that initiative and wouldn't want to do anything to screw it up.
Well, I appreciate that support, Yanni and Dan, and the thoughtfulness around coordination with that. I would ask that you do a check-in with the BTD Transit folks, Matt Moran, and just review these plans with them. I don't see anything here that causes alarm, and I'm very excited to see the extension of the bike facilities continue down summer, but just want to make sure we're fully aligned for the stuff that we're intending to construct this year. I think it'll also be helpful for that team to have clarity on your intended timeline for construction. Part of the purpose of the pilot is to understand the impacts, if any, that bus priority on this street has on flow of vehicles. And so there'll be measurement taking place, and we want to make sure that we're timing those measurements so that they are not capturing the active construction scene, but instead are capturing the intended changes to the roadway. All right, those are my only 2 points. Anyone else on the commission? Questions, comments?
Chief, another small comment. Yanni, as always, so nice to see you. Chris, I think, I may be wrong, but a segment of this Summer Street may be over an actual bridge structure that
Yes.
is also, so make sure that whatever the improvements that are being considered are compatible, meaning the means and methods of construction is going to be compatible with an asset that Mass DOT is in the process of trying to convey to us. So, you know, it is very nice stuff, very cool stuff, but just make sure that all the necessary approvals have come through. And if Carrie LaValle has signed off on all of this stuff, that's good. But the due diligence, Chris, is on you, okay?
Understood, and we have the details here. We've got some specific details for the bridge deck areas.
Okay. You have done the due diligence, that's all.
All right, PIC staff, members of the public?
I'm all set.
All right, seeing no other comments, will you be ready for your public hearing in 2 weeks?
Yep.
Excellent. We will see you on March 2nd. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye now.
All right, on to our final item for today's agenda, new business 3, 51 Melcher Street, A Street, South Boston, specific repairs and a petition by GIETS Fort Point 1 LLC. Would the petitioners please introduce themselves, their affiliations, and walk us through what you are proposing to do?
Good morning. My name is Eric Meredith. I work with the VHB as the civil engineer on this project. I'm joined by Mark Youngins as well with the VHB. In addition to that, I'm joined by Bo Pierce and Greg Gillespie with Leggett McCall, who are representing the owners, and Joe Imperato with GIM Partners, the owner. If I may share my screen. So I'm here to present the specific repair plan for the project at 51 Melcher Street in the Fort Point neighborhood. As you can see here, this is the existing building, and it's currently office space and will be converted to life sciences. As part of this project, we will be providing upgrades to the systems of the building, as well as street improvements that were requested as we have gone through the Article 80 process. And this is just a bird's eye view of the building. As we've progressed through the design, we have met with numerous agencies to coordinate streetscape features. We have met with the MBTA as well as disabilities on site to review turning movements in real time of the buses at the Melcher Street and A Street intersection. We have met with BTD during the project to determine the best options for sidewalk improvements as well as the intersection at Melcher Street and A Street. And we've coordinated with numerous other departments, including but not limited to the Public Works, Street Lighting Division, the Landmarks Commission, Parks and Recreation Department, as well as the BPDA. Now I will go to the specific repair plan so I can speak on the specific repairs. The sidewalks that are being replaced along the frontage and a little bit farther past to fix the accessibility and non-compliant cross slope of these current sidewalks. New city bike racks will be installed here, as well as here. A new curb alignment at Melcher Street intersection with A Street, which includes these curb extensions on both sides of Melcher Street, will also be installed. As part of that, the pedestrian ramps are being redesigned to work with the new sidewalks as well as the existing to make sure there is an accessible path to get to those. The city standard tree pits will also be installed along here, allowing for at least 5 feet clear from the tree pit to the building to allow for that space. The only other thing would be that the pedestrian signals are being relocated slightly with the new orientation of the ramps to allow for the pedestrians to access there, as well as the 2 streetlights that are existing here were requested by the street lighting department to shift them a little closer to the curb. And with that, I will open it up to any questions.
Commissioners?
I have one question. This is Joe Callahan. Are there any flood mitigation issues for this property that might impact the sidewalks?
We are doing flood barriers around the rear side of the building, but that wouldn't be on this area.
Thank you.
Eric, I appreciate the fact that you had a field review with the representatives from the city, including Public Works, street lighting folks, and the transportation departments to assess the sidewalk conditions. But did you get a chance to get a sense from our Public Works people to see the condition of sidewalks, not just on Melcher Street, but on A Street and the immediate surrounding areas? That's question one. Question two, is your project just a rehab of an existing building of however many stories, meaning you're just gutting the inside and converting it, or is it major demo and reconfiguration? Can you amplify?
Sure. On question 2, it is just cutting the inside. No additions on top other than some mechanical equipment to help with the lab use.
And the reason I asked that thing is to get understanding on the degradation of the city assets on Melcher Street just through the activity of construction, including any utility cuts and so forth. So how long is your construction? And by the time it's all done, how will the city streets look like? And being mindful of it, because this may not be in the best state. And even though it's a recut rehab, there may be impacts. So just a bit concerned about it. And the question that really concerns me is what is it that you are going to do to absorb this new repurposing of this building and all the tenants into the city sidewalks and the streets?
Yeah, so the street will be milled and overlay, as well as the grades need to be updated a little bit along here as you get closer, just to make sure we have that reveal on the curbing. I believe most of the, well, actually, as part of this project as well, we are improving the sidewalks. We are doing a design as requested by the BTD for the sidewalks from this edge here all the way up to Summer Street. And that was requested as we were going through the Article 80 process as well.
Para, this is Mark.
Hi,
You
Mark.
should also note that all the sidewalks in front of the site and beyond
Thank you, Mark.
are all brand new.
Okay.
So that and the pavement in the street will be refreshed, so in the end, it will be better than new and, completely accessible, and it'll look nice.
Thank you, Mark. That's all.
Just to follow up on Para's question, I appreciate the attention to the sidewalks further up Melcher. Our goal here with this project and some city projects and some other private projects is to ensure that this area of the city has fully accessible paths of travel, which these days it does not in many locations. And so I appreciate the interest and the willingness to do a design for the rest of Melcher Street. I am curious about the intersection of Necco and Melcher and whether you have looked at or would be willing to consider constructing an accessible crosswalk at that location in addition to offering a design to provide, again, that full that clear path going up to Summer Street, where many folks coming from South Station may be traveling.
I believe the opposite side of Necco is part of the other 50 Necco project, but we can look into along our side.
If someone has already signed up to build that crosswalk across Necco on Melcher, I certainly don't want to have it be done twice. But I think if there is a possibility of incorporating that crossing specifically into the project, I think that would be helpful in creating a contiguous, getting us closer to a contiguous accessible path from the nearest transit station to your project site and to points beyond.
Okay. We can look
I
into that.
believe that is the location of the former GE site, which is currently under construction.
Extending all the way to Necco, the GE site, extending all the way to Melcher. The GE site, I believe, is at the other end of Necco rather than at the Melcher intersection.
They'd have to build a sidewalk to get out of there, though. So yeah, I think that this is kind of a long running thing. Anytime somebody asks us about that crossing because they're responsible for it, we've asked them to raise it. Right, like based on the grading and stuff here, like that being one flush continuous thing gets us through a lot of issues. But yeah, it's if it's not this, it is the other project. But we have commented, right, about that through somebody's development project. But yeah, no, even when that was GE, they had to do that whole side because there are no sidewalks. So you can build that development, but there's no way to get there on foot.
Okay, so I think we can take some homework of confirming whether or not there is somebody already under an existing obligation to reconstruct that, but certainly this is a priority for us, and to the extent that this project can help us get to a place where we have that accessibility down Melcher Street for traffic coming, for people coming from South Station, that would be an important priority for the city to see happen as soon as we can. So I will ask the proponents to be in communication with PIC staff, and we can coordinate through the other projects we've reviewed and with BTD to see if we can use this as an opportunity to accelerate this. Commissioners, other comments, questions? PIC staff, members of the public?
I will mention that the project is still working through some coordination with Boston Landmarks Commission. I believe they have an application in which is scheduled to be heard by the BLC on March 9th. So for that reason, the project should not seek to return to PIC until March 16th or later.
That is correct.
All right. Would the proponents like to be on the March 16th agenda?
Yes, we would.
All right. Excellent. Well, thank you very much. We will see you on the 16th.
Thank you.
And with that, we are at the end of our agenda. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, so moved. Thank you all very much. We'll see you in a couple weeks.
Thank you.